Picture a sprawling General Motors plant in the late 1970s, massive, humming with machines and people, but underneath the spirit feels stifled. Employees have ideas, but they're bottled up by rules and layers of approval. Change feels like a distant dream. What happened to American innovation, that fierce entrepreneurial spark? The answer lies in how companies like GM tried to control everything and crush the very energy that fueled their success. But what if the cure was hiding in plain sight? Before companies can bloom, they sometimes choke themselves. From the 1960s through the 80s, many American giants unknowingly squeezed the life from their own innovation. At General Motors, bright sparks among the workforce had ideas for better ways to build cars or cut costs. But their proposals bounced from manager to manager, buried under layers of rules. A welder's suggestion at the Detroit plant took months just to be heard, and by then the market had shifted. GM wasn't just making cars, it was manufacturing resistance to change. Think of innovation like a car engine. For the engine to roar, air and fuel must mix freely. But in many big companies, rigid departmental silos act like a clogged air filter, blocking the fresh fuel of new ideas. When top-down control chokes cross-team collaboration, the engine sputters despite the best parts. It's a deadly dance between control and creativity. This corporate suffocation wasn't without cost. As GM and others tightened their grip, nimble foreign competitors like Toyota seized the opportunity. Their innovation culture let grassroots ideas speed to production, turning those insights into market wins. The surprising payoff: by releasing employees' creative energy, companies can shift from defensive survival to aggressive growth. But not every company choked on its own rules. Some cultures lit fires that powered innovation, harnessing pride and trust to energize their teams. 3M's iconic Post-it notes weren't a planned product launch. Art Fry, a 3M scientist frustrated by falling bookmarks, took a chance with a weak adhesive from a colleague's lab. The company's culture encouraged experimentation even when it felt risky. That small, empowered step transformed a trivial annoyance into a multi-million-dollar innovation, showing the power of grassroots involvement. At 3M and other innovators, employees weren't just cogs, they were corporate entrepreneurs. The companies gave them room to test and fail fast, like a jazz quartet improvising together instead of reading rigid sheet music. Empowerment here isn't a buzzword, it's a dynamic interplay of trust, resources, and autonomy that keeps ideas alive and evolving. This pride in ownership didn't just improve morale, it turbocharged performance. When workers see their efforts matter, their engagement grows, creating a self-fueling cycle of motivation and success. It flips the corporate story from helplessness to mastery, proving that when you put power in your people's hands, everyone wins. If innovation is a machine, then change masters are the skilled operators who know how to keep it humming, balancing power, participation, and culture shifts. Rosabeth Moss Kanter profiles leaders dubbed corporate entrepreneurs, people like a plant manager at a struggling steel mill who cut through red tape to launch a new process. They don't wait for permission, they build alliances and quietly rewrite the rules. These change masters blend authority with agility, using power not as a club but as a tool to clear obstacles. Yet involving everyone isn't always simple. Too much participation can bog decisions down, while too little breeds resentment. Think of it as tuning a guitar, tighten the strings enough to create harmony, but not so much that they snap. These leaders learned when to invite broad input, when to pivot quickly, and how to maintain momentum without chaos. Finally, changing the architecture of culture and strategy is like renovating a house while living in it. Kanter details how firms redesigned unwieldy bureaucracies, fostering environments where experimentation and strategic focus coexisted. The surprising insight: real change isn't top-down decree. It's an ongoing, layered process sustained by everyday habits and stories. Remember that GM plant we started with? Its story wasn't just about a giant losing its edge, it was about learning how to set loose the very energy it had trapped. Kanter shows us change isn't a single event but a series of smart moves by empowered people. So next time your work feels stuck, try loosening a rule, inviting fresh voices, or simply listening harder. That's how you become a true change master. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.